Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending our presentation. My name is Lauriane Imbert, and I'm going to present you a study involving three partners, LIBM, Tuan, and RB3D. The work presented today deals with a new active exoskeleton that reduces muscle activity and metabolic cost during repetitive lifting. This presentation is going to start with an introduction on low back pain and exoskeletons. Then I'm going to give you the objective of the study. You'll see the study design and the methods we used. As usual, we'll continue with results and discussion before a short conclusion. First of all, low back pain is a musculoskeletal condition affecting millions of people worldwide. Because of direct and indirect cost, it is an economic burden of billions of dollars. It has been shown that occupational activities such as heavy lifting and frequent bending may endanger the lumbar structure and therefore put manual handling workers particularly at risk. In France, the Institute in charge of health and safety in the workplace declares that LBP represents 20% of work-related injuries, 7% of work-related diseases, and 11.5 million days of work lost per year. Some prevention strategies have been tried, but they seem to have only a minor effect, thus resulting in a growing interest in exoskeletons. Exoskeletons are defined as wearable devices that augment, enable, assist, and/or enhance physical activity through mechanical interaction with the body. There are two families of exoskeletons, passive and active, depending on the method used to assist motion. Passive exoskeletons use elastic materials to release elastic energy stored during part of the movement. Most commercialized or investigating exoskeletons, such as the LIBM that you can see here on this picture, are passive since they are light, faster to develop, and simple to use. However, they have limited assistance and limited versatility, which is why more and more companies or labs are interested in active exoskeletons. Active exoskeletons use powered actuators to provide additional torque to the user. Aton and Cray X are examples of commercialized active exoskeletons, but there are limited proofs in the literature, where, on the contrary, other systems were investigating, such as Robomate, HL, HWX, and so on. The issue with those active exoskeletons is that they can be heavy and use complex control strategy, resulting in systems difficult to use in the field. Therefore, there is a need for light, simple, and efficient systems. The aim of the study was to investigate the efficiency of a novel active exoskeleton prototype on physiological and biomechanical parameters, as well as subjective outcomes. To do so, 21 healthy men voluntarily enrolled in the study. They came twice to the lab. First, they had a training session to familiarize them with the lifting task. They used tube lifting, which is bending at waist with quasi-straight legs, and squat lifting, which is bending at knee with legs flexed 90 degrees. They also familiarized with the exoskeleton called ExoBack that you can see here on his back. On the second occasion, they came to the lab to perform the test session, during which they were equipped with markers and sensors. Then they performed 4 times 4-minute lifting trials, 2 conditions with and without ExoBack and 2 lifting techniques. And at the end of each trial, their impressions were collected with both scale and questionnaires. Before jumping to the results, let's take a closer look at the methods. The participants were equipped with a portable breathing gas analyzer to measure the oxygen consumption, EMG sensors on back muscles and hip extensors and flexors to measure the muscle activity, and retroreflected markers to measure the trunk kinematic. They had to lift a load on 25% body mass, and the exoskeleton we used was called the ExoBack, built by the RB3D company. The first interesting results we had was a significant decrease in oxygen consumption. As you can see here on this graph, the exoskeleton decreases the oxygen consumption by 26% for the stoop task and by 16% for the squat task. Therefore, ExoBack reduces metabolic cost due to repeated lifting tasks. In the literature on active exoskeletons, oxygen consumption was rarely investigated. To our knowledge, only one study measured reduction of 18% in metabolic rate, but the number of subjects was very low. The second interesting results we got was a significant decrease in muscle activity, in particular for multifidus and longissimus, which are the back muscles investigated in this study. Indeed, as you can see on this graph, we measured a decrease of 20% for stoop task for the multifidus and also for the longissimus, and we measured a decrease of 24% for the squat task for multifidus and 21% for longissimus. Therefore, ExoBack reduces muscular demand due to repeated lifting tasks. In the literature, similar decreases were measured, but usually for lower load and fewer repetitions. It is worth keeping in mind that since protocols often differ, comparisons with other studies require caution. Regarding the other muscles, there were significant decreases for hip extensors. We measured decreases of 26% and 27% for the biceps femoris for the stoop task and the squat task, respectively, and even larger for the glutes, 40% and 30% for the stoop task and the squat task, respectively. We also measured a significant decrease of 11% for the rectus femoris, which is a hip flexor, for the stoop task only. Therefore, ExoBack reduces hip extensors activity and antagonist. There was a slight negative effect, although it was not significant, of the exoskeleton's mass for squat lifting. But this mass is expecting to decrease in the next version of ExoBack. Similar decreases were observed in the literature, for instance, in the study of Ko and colleagues, but they didn't measure any significant difference for the rectus femoris. And last but not least, the participants rated the exertion during the trials with exoskeleton as being significantly lower than the trials without exoskeleton. Indeed, on this graph, you can see that the decrease was pretty high for the stoop task, and it was 41%, and it was a decrease of 30% for the squat task. Therefore, ExoBack reduces significantly perceived exertion due to repeated lifting tasks. Even though it is even more difficult to compare to literature, it seems that ExoBack reduced perceived exertion more than other active exoskeleton. To conclude, we can say that for 21 healthy participants performing repetitive lifting tasks, ExoBack reduced significantly the metabolic cost by 16 to 26%, reduced significantly the back muscle activity by 20 to 24%, reduced significantly the hip extensors activity by 26 to 40%. Also, there were perceivable improvements reported regarding the exertion of each task, and we noted a slight negative impact on the antagonic legs muscles. However, this impact is expected to reduce with further decrease in exoskeleton's mass. Therefore, we can conclude that ExoBack was helpful in relieving backload and metabolic cost, and it appears to be a promising solution to mitigate the risk of low back pain among manual handling workers. We'd like to thank the funding source and all the participants, and of course, we'd like to thank you for your attention.